Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanee and Clarky visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right. You've even got lights. Good to see you. Literally again, Paul.
Yes, we're just having a bit of technical difficulty here. No power, flat batteries, rain, everything going on. So it is good to see you now. We've just got that fixed.
Wild weather in Victoria at the moment, Carla. It's probably perfect in WA as per usual, but here it's been quite wild. So well done, guys.
It's funny you should say that, right? So last night I met a woman who had formerly been a weather girl, like a real deal weather girl. And I was saying how I didn't realise until I was 40 that I wish that I had have done that. But she was saying that when she was in New South Wales, and I agree totally, having grown up there, there's so much real weather. There's stuff that happens all the time. Whereas over here, I don't know, it's either really clear and sunny or it's not. But, you don't get those big storms that come in and break up weather. I don't know. I miss the real sort of exciting weather of New South Wales and Victoria by the sounds of things.
Well, we're certainly having it at the moment.
Absolutely.
I was on the boat when the storm hit last night.
Yeah.
And I heard this little girl walking past and someone said, "Did you have a good night's sleep?" She said, "No, I didn't. There was thunder and lightning everywhere."
Oh, that's so cute.
That's a bit dramatic. But it was cute.
Yeah.
Oh, so how has your week been? Clarky, you tell us first. How have you been?
My week's been great. Just been a little bit of winding up, heading towards the end of the year. We had a Christmas party for our local community on Friday night, which was awesome. And then a work Christmas party last night, so I'm feeling quite fresh today.
Excellent, I'm sure you are. And Swanee, what about you? How fresh are you feeling?
Well, I felt very fresh earlier in the week because we took a few days out and went across to Rottnest and had a lovely little family sort of circuit breaker, as I call it, between school ending and Christmas. So we just had a relaxing couple of days. But I'm feeling a bit rusty this morning. We've been to a girlfriend's big birthday bash last night, and I think that my feet and my legs actually hurt more than my head, which is a sign of a good night, isn't it, really? We had absolute ball, but yes, a little bit rough, and I might be a little bit extra nasally today, but it was worth it. How are you, Schmitty?
Yeah, good. So kind of similar vein, it's the crazy season.
It is.
Of course, by the time this episode comes out, it's February and we'll have forgotten all about this. But right now it's the week before Christmas, and it's that crazy time where you've got to go to every work event and every other event, and everyone wants to see you, and especially after being in lockdown for most of the year, everyone wants to catch up. So I finally did my staff, they're not even my staff now because I've changed jobs slightly, but my staff Christmas party. And I had to reschedule it about 5 times because of lockdowns, because it was a murder mystery. It's a bit of a theme. But we were doing a 1920s themed murder mystery. And of course, Friday morning, I get a call from someone saying that one of our team has been positively diagnosed with COVID and was in the office with 5 other people 3 days earlier, so they're all isolating and testing and all the rest of it. So I had to go inside and rope my nieces and my sister and say, "Look, I know you weren't planning to do this today, but you have to pretend to be these characters because I am not rescheduling this murder mystery again." So we did it, and it was lovely, and everyone had a good time. But yeah, so we got through. So that was really good. And then I had a nice little weekend with Tony on the boat this last weekend and came back this morning. So all good. Now,
I just need to interject. To be fair, it was very lucky that it was your family that you had to get people to participate in murder mystery. Being theatrical as you are, you would have struggled massively if I had to come home and say to my family, "Right, we need to get in a role." I don't think it would have had the same effect.
I've got to say,
Kate, you're well positioned for that.
You're right. Kate really pulled a blinder. She comes out, she was playing the jazz club owner.
Yeah.
She comes out, it was 30-something degrees, it was quite hot. She comes out in a pair of black trousers and a white shirt. She's got a bowler hat, she's got these ridiculous glasses, she's got a cane, and she's going around bossing everyone around because she's Felix Fontano. It was very funny. She did a great job. And then, of course, she was the victim, so he gets killed, and then she becomes the investigator in the second half of it. And you should have seen her dramatic. She's lying, and look, I know this is a bit too soon, but she's lying under the clothesline, and she's got a spatula under her arm, pretending to be stabbed with it. I said, look, I've got a carving knife. She goes, no, I don't want to have any, Alec Baldwin type accidents, so we're not going to do that. And I'm like, okay, fine. All right.
Health and safety first.
Also, bit too soon.
Yep.
Yes, OH&S was fully out. Anyway, so that was really good.
Oh, good.
So, now what are you drinking?
I've got a 1.25 litre of Coles soda water, which I'm hoping to be able to consume during today's podcast, so I'm feeling a little bit more sprightly afterwards. I need a bit
Require a bit of...
rehydration.
Hydration, yes.
To get into my twinkle toes.
Very nice.
What about you, pair of...
Well, we're having a little drink called Tinto de Verano, which is inspired by a Spanish drink. So it's a Shiraz and lemon spritzer. And it comes from Shiraz Republic, which is a winery in Colbernabon, so kind of near Heathcote area. We go there and make some wine ourselves there every year. And, yeah, it's very delicious. So that's today's bevy. How about you, Schmitty?
Continuing on with my somewhat bogan tendencies, I'm drinking a vodka cruiser. They have brought out a nice range of sugar-frees. They've brought out 0 sugars, so I'm like, yep, I'll have one of those.
Are they colourful?
So, yes, it's pink. You can't see it because I've got it in a goblet because I'm disguising my boganness.
Oh.
But it's actually
Good idea.
Mixed berry, so it's quite pink.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's not bad. Not bad. So, that's us. Now, we've forgotten to do this the last couple of episodes, so I'm just going to remind us all, who are we?
Oh, can we introduce ourselves?
Yes, please, let's. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarky. And together
Together
we
we
are
are
Trial by Wine.
Yay! Excellent. I'm sure that's going to be awesome.
Yes. As always.
Okay. Now, Clarky, did you have something to say before I pushed us into introducing ourselves?
I was going to tell you, I heard about a drink that involved vodka cruisers last night, and it's called a snorkel. And what you do is you get a straw and you put it all the way into the bottle, and it's got to be one of those ones that folds over, the plastic straws that folds over. I imagine they do them with paper.
What an illegal plastic straw.
Correct, yeah. So you have those, you have that coming out the top and then bent over so that it allows air right into the bottom, and then you can literally just scull the whole thing super quickly because there's no issues getting air out of it.
Oh, I understand. Yes,
So
yes, I understand.
That's hence the
Yes.
snorkel bit. But all it is that you just then scull your vodka cruiser in record time. Not sure why you would do that.
Yeah. No, neither am I. But don't worry, Carla. We don't have to use a plastic straw for that. We could always just use a piece of flexible pipe. I've got plenty of it outside, so that'll be fine. And legal.
Nice. Because we're all about legal.
Are cruisers strong? Are they very alcoholic?
I don't think so. I think it said...
They're Alco Pops,
I'll
aren't
let
they?
you know. Yeah, they are. I'll let you know when I get my next one out.
Oh, please do.
And I'll look at the label. But they're probably, 1.3 standard drinks or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're
So you should keep yourself nice then.
trying, doing my level best. Someone who is listening to our show said to me the other day, "Oh my God, after about an hour, you guys are so drunk." And I'm like,
You could probably go to a 21st.
Your hour.
Maybe you'll go to a 21st after a couple of these drinks.
I reckon I
You
could.
can head off.
Yeah,
These are like
fit
pre's.
right in.
Head off to a 21st after today's
Pre-game.
podcast. She's about a couple of had my 6-pack of cruises. I'm off to a 21st.
Sweet. All right, who's got a story for us?
I do.
Fabulous.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Looking forward to it. I've missed this. I've missed us. So let's go for it.
Yeah, all right, no problem. So what I'm going to do is tell you a little story of a lady named Sada Abe. So she's Japanese. She was born in 1905. So we're going back a little bit. But, why not? So my sources are Wikipedia, of course. That always just seems to give me a good one. Head Stuff, and also, and predominantly Serial Napper. So there's a woman named Nikki Young at Serial Napper who's done a story of Sada Abe. So I'm more or less following her story. And a whole lot more than less. Right. Okay. So she was born in 1905. Thank you, Nikki. Yes. In an upper middle class family of tatami mat makers in Tokyo's Kanda neighborhood. She was one of 4 kids to survive adulthood, and her father, Shigeyoshi, had inherited the family business of tatami mat making and was now running the show. He was described as an honest and upright man who had no conspicuous vices, though some acquaintances reported that he was somewhat self-centered with a taste for extravagance. That is quite possibly one of the most Japanese ways of describing a person, but there it is.
Such warmth.
So Sada's mother was also... Yeah, such warmth, exactly right. Very clinical.
Yeah.
Sada's mother was also known as a respectable mother and a moral citizen. Her siblings, on the other hand, did grow up to be a little scandalous.
Ooh.
Her brother Shintaro was known as a womanizer, and after his marriage ran away with his parents' money.
Ooh.
Don't know how he got it, but that's what happened. Her sister Teruka had several lovers. Because of her known promiscuity, the father actually sent Teruka to work in a brothel, which was actually not an uncommon way to punish female sexual promiscuity in Japan.
I've never heard that before, but there you go. You seem to have an aptitude for this.
He did allow her to come home eventually, and she remarried. Yeah, that's right, yes. Stick to your strength style, you're going to love it.
Oh, God.
If you're going to lay on your back, you may as well earn for it.
Goodness.
Make money out of the things that you're good at.
She's the youngest child.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do the job you love and it won't feel like work.
Goodness.
Find a way to monetize the things that you love and that you're good at. Oh, my God.
That's right. Absolutely. Sorry,
I know.
it's going to get hard to get past this point, Paul.
Yeah.
Hope you've got a lot of petrol in that generator.
Alrighty, so back to the story. So Sada, on the other hand, was the youngest child, and because of this, her mother absolutely doted on her. She was treated specially and basically allowed to do whatever she wanted to do growing up. Overall, she had a pretty positive, great upbringing. She was allowed to take singing lessons, to wear makeup, which wasn't really allowed back then. But there's always a twist, isn't there? So, unfortunately, things changed for Sada when she was just 15 years old. While out with a group of friends, she was raped by an acquaintance of hers. And this is when her parents really saw a change in her. She became rebellious and difficult, even though her parents supported her and defended her after the rape. She just sort of broke. And when her parents decided they could no longer handle her, what would you do if you could no longer handle your kids, Carla?
I don't know. I wouldn't get rid of them, but I given what her dad did to the bigger sister, I'm concerned where we're going with this. Yes, I don't know. What did they do?
Yes, well, if you ever get to a point where you can no longer handle your children,
yes,
you could do what Sada's parents did, and sell her to a geisha house in Yokohama.
Oh, goodness me!
Why not?
They do. They do seem to have a bit of a track record, don't they, Mum and Pa?
Wouldn't be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wouldn't necessarily be top of your list, though.
I'm going to struggle with my three boys.
I feel
but
like
anyway,
there's
do
more
tell.
appropriate ways to deal with that. Yes. So she was only 17 years old at the time. So do we know much about geishas? Do you want a little background on what geishas are?
No,
or?
I do. I would like to know a little bit more about them. I feel I probably have too many working assumptions that are incorrect.
Yeah.
So please educate me.
We often assume that geishas are prostitutes.
Yeah, that's not
and
right.
there's a little bit more, in fact, a whole lot more to it. So the word geisha literally means artisan.
Yep.
So they're much more than a sex worker. Being a geisha is a lifelong commitment and profession that involves so much talent, knowledge, and experience. Geisha must master several types of arts, including Japanese dances, singing, literature, poetry, flower arranging, and the playing of traditional instruments. Sounds like a very busy job.
Do they also perform sexual acts?
Isn't that a no normally?
So
that's the bit I'm not sure about.
I don't think.
Yeah.
So
So it's probably less about that, but so being a geisha, you're more about accompanying people, keeping your guests entertained, all that sort of thing, and so you get money from that. However, you can also then it can involve sex, so it's not just a kind of one for one. I'll pay you, you have sex with me, but more you come and look after me and entertain me and blah blah blah, and that may then lead to sex.
Yes.
Is it like a courtesan? So so more like a mistress or a courtesan or someone who does the whole package. It's not a...
I mean, could you honestly... But it has to be a cultural thing in the sense that in Western culture, could you honestly imagine a beautiful woman and then a man turning up and going, I'm going to do some floral arrangement for you? Because I guarantee you that's not what he's there for.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's very difficult, I think, for us to get our heads around, why do you want a beautiful woman to be so artistic? Because that's what it's about. If you've ever watched anything to do with it, it's all these very traditional arts, and they have to present themselves as these incredibly professional, very unassuming but incredibly accomplished woman. But again, what man wants to see arranged flowers?
A bit like Miss America.
A little bit.
A bit like Miss America, yeah.
But without the bikini
exactly the
walk.
Yeah.
But without the bikinis, that's right.
And having to solve the problems of the world.
It is tricky.
So are they the ones that have the white face and the really pointy lips?
Kabuki-san, yeah. It's difficult, I think, for us to get our heads around how that works. It's like, if it's not sex, why do you want to go and hang out with a woman who can do all of that stuff? Because I think it's nice, but I don't see how it would work in our culture.
Anything else you'd do with a woman?
Correct, in our culture.
Yeah.
Is it something? Could it be something to do with? Could it be something to do with the access to women of that culture?
Yes.
A very cultured woman who is very beautiful and very talented and trained and in this traditional way. Could that be like a connection to being almost like experiencing what you might have experienced if you were in a Japanese court or or an aristocratic setting? Is that the attraction to it? So a non-aristocratic male could experience the kind of woman that he wouldn't normally experience. Do you know what I'm saying?
Possibly.
It's just a question. Okay.
Anyway, good exploration of geisha. So normally when girls went to geisha houses, they would be around 10. They'd come from poor families in the countryside. So Sada was actually quite old when she started because she was sold off at 17. And because of this, she was kind of at the lower end of the geisha scale. She was a little bit less than everyone else. She didn't have all the years of training as the other girls.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Sorry, Clarky. Carla had a look on her face because of the age, I think, of a girl being sold off at 10. She had the look of shock and horror. Being a geisha, was that considered a bad thing in society, or was it something that you could be proud of?
Yeah, I don't think it was considered shameful at all. But the reason you were sold off at 10 was so that you could start your training. Was that you weren't sold off at 10 so that you could then start having sex with people. Yeah. So if you think about all those things that they had to learn, like dancing, singing, whatever, you want to get all of that knowledge and skill into
it's like
those
a finishing
girls.
school or...
It's like June Dally Watkins with a bit of
I know
power,
it's not the
power
same.
and maybe having to put out, but yeah.
But yeah, so that they wouldn't start that part of it until later on. So yeah,
Glad to hear it.
10-year-old
No.
geishas.
But it's interesting as well because, as you say, they've come from poor backgrounds, so it probably is if you are successful in it, a way to have a life, that you probably wouldn't have. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't think it's looked at in the same way as selling your child into prostitution, or even if you sold your child into a grand house of pimpery,
But
Madame Pompadour's pimpery.
It's
I think it's culturally
That's
very
the hard
different
bit for us to get our heads around. I think.
And it's not just about sex, remember?
No.
So it's not like you're going into that
correct.
purely to have sex.
Exactly.
There's a whole lot of other stuff.
Other stuff, yeah.
So because she didn't have all of the training, because she started at 17, she wound up as a low-ranking geisha. So she wasn't paid as much.
Were her feet a bit too
and
big?
because of that, she'd often need to...
I'm worried about her feet. It's a late start to binding. Oh, my word. Oh my word! No wonder she was shunned. I'm sure by the others with the big feet that hadn't been bound.
Yeah. Ouch.
I bet your feet feel a bit like they were bound.
Oh my God.
After last night.
That's why you're sensitive to it.
Yeah, too much champagne.
Too much dancing.
Yeah.
Tight high heels, I'm sure, feel just like
Imagine it'd be easier at 10 than 17. Poor girl. Sorry, Clarky, I interrupted. As usual, sorry.
No, I'm liking it. No, interrupt away. That makes the story a lot more humorous. So, because she wasn't paid as much, she'd often have to provide sex to make more money. So that's going more into the prostitution space, less into the geisha space. And through that, she was just overall treated pretty bad. She worked as a geisha for 5 years and eventually contracted syphilis.
Oh.
Since this meant she would be required to undergo regular examinations, like a legally licensed prostitute, she decided to leave the geisha house and become a prostitute since it paid better.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
that it paid better. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it also involves sex, whereas the geisha thing doesn't necessarily.
What do you think as well?
Necessarily, right.
Yeah.
So she was sort of forced to do that because she wasn't high enough in the system.
If you
didn't started training early enough.
If you're a geisha, are you living within a community of other geishas? Like, is there like a hierarchy in terms of who you are, and then there's someone running that?
Yeah, they have geisha houses where you
that's the word I
all
was
do the
after.
training.
Yeah. So they would have taken the money, I guess,
Yeah.
and they would have been given an allowance as such or something. So if she's out on her own, free agent, fair enough.
Yeah, that's true. No commission coming off the top. So she moved to Osaka and began working as a prostitute in the Tobiya brothel district. Besides prostituting, she often got herself into other trouble by stealing money from her clients. She hated prostituting, but she didn't see any other options for her to earn money. She actually tried to escape several times, but she was always found and dragged back to work. Not a very nice life.
No.
So in 1933, Sada's mother died. She decided to take a trip back to Tokyo to visit her father and to see her mother's grave. Whilst there, she decided to stick close to home, so she began legally prostituting in Tokyo. When her father became seriously ill in 1934, she nursed him for 10 days until his death, and then she was on her own again. So it's a bit of a sad beginning for her.
It is sad, yeah.
How old is she by this
Anyway,
point?
later that year, she ended up meeting a man.
Roughly.
So 29.
Oh, okay. So she's getting on now.
Yeah,
okay,
roughly. Yep. So she ended up meeting a man named Kinosuke Kasahara, who was very attracted to her and asked her to be his mistress. This was a very common practice for a married man to also have a mistress on the side who took care of their sexual needs in exchange for financial support. Coming from a life of prostitution, this was a huge win for Sada. He bought her a house to live in and always gave her money when she needed it. Later, he said about Sada, she was really strong, a real powerful one. Even though I'm pretty jaded, she was enough to astound me. She wasn't satisfied unless we did it 2, 3, 4 times a night. To her, it was unacceptable unless I had my hand on her private parts all night long. At first it was great, but after a couple of weeks, I got a little exhausted.
Yeah, is this another Catherine Knight?
Well, it's not another.
She was up for it 17,000 times a night.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
But she didn't keep her cooking knives above the bed.
Knives above the bed, that's right, okay.
Yes. So she had a lot of energy, and after a while, she asked Kasahara to leave his wife for her, but he refused. So she asked if she could take a lover of her own, and he refused this as well. So one day, she left for Nagoya and began working in a restaurant as a waitress. So they're no longer together. And while she was there, she began a romantic relationship with one of the customers. His name was Goro Omiya, and he was a professor and banker, a well-respected individual in society with a great job and solid income. It would have done Sada well to settle down with him, but that wasn't to be. So they moved back to Tokyo and decided that they'd open a small restaurant together. Omiya had a start-up cash, and Sada had the fire within her. She was a self-starter at heart and always made sure that no matter what happened, she would always be okay.
Is the fire within her
So
syphilis?
she suggested before that...
I thought it was the magic pussy.
It's the tainted. It must be a
Just
black
wondering.
magic pussy.
Getting her into trouble.
Yeah.
Dark magic. So before they opened the restaurant, Omiya said that Sada should get a little bit more experience under her belt. So I feel like she had a lot of experience under her belt.
Exactly.
probably needs some experience above the belt. So she got a job at a restaurant called Yoshidaya, which was owned by a man named Kichizo Ishida, who was 42 years old at the time. Truthfully, he didn't do a whole lot of actual work in the restaurant, mostly just flirted with the women who stopped by while his wife actually did the day-to-day management. This waitressing job that Sada found was about to become the catalyst of a series of very unfortunate events. Yes, that's it. So Ishida very quickly noticed her beauty and began to make advances towards her. While Sada was in a long-term relationship with Omiya at the time, she had a ton of physical chemistry with Ishida, and the two began to hook up in the restaurant while the wife wasn't around. It was undeniable, the physical attraction between these two, and their affair went from sneaking around the restaurant to literally spending days together at hotels. They didn't seem to really care who knew about the affair. It was actually said that they refused to stop having sex even when the hotel's maids entered the room to bring tea.
Or even when they were in the middle of, restaurant
That's not
service.
okay.
It's a total
I'll get
horn
you.
bag.
I'll get your food in a second.
Yeah. Sorry, I spilt the tea. It's a bit of a bumpy ride, but you get half a cup.
Oh, God.
Not very sanitary.
Yeah, no.
No.
God, no. But imagine being the hotel staff bringing in tea and just leave it on the table.
Oh, just coming in to clean a room. Oh, sorry,
Oh.
sorry. I'll leave you two at it.
So for Ishida, it was just physical, but for Sada, it was a lot more. For the first time in her life, she really felt like she was in love, and she had many men in her life previously, but it wasn't until now that she really felt love and loved.
Oh.
Sada would say this about him. It's hard to say exactly what is good about Ishida, but it was impossible to say anything bad about his looks, his attitude, his skill as a lover, the way he expressed his feelings. I've never met such a sexy man.
I'm telling you, she's a total horn bag.
And while their hookups continued, yeah, I know, right? Like, there is a very strong theme coming
She's
through.
kissed a lot of frogs to get to the
I know, but
spritz.
she's still only talking about the kissing of frogs as opposed to anything really
True.
more about who he was as a person. It's just like,
Oh,
he was,
no,
he
he's
was
just
hot and he was
hot.
good at it. Yeah.
He's just hot and he's real good at it.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get on it
Yeah.
again.
Oh, I'm in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on it. Don't get off it whilst the
maids are
maid
coming in.
comes
That's
with
right.
tea. So while their hookups continued, Sada would become insanely jealous when he would leave her and go back to his wife. She began drinking heavily. It was eating her up inside and she couldn't stand it anymore. The wheels in her head began to turn and she began to think and she began to plan. Exactly that. On May the 9th in 1936, Sada attended a play in which a geisha attacks her lover with a large knife. After seeing this, Sada decided to threaten Ishida with a knife at their next meeting.
Okay. That makes sense.
So a couple of
Oh,
days
better
later,
not.
she pawned some of her clothing and used the money to buy some sushi and a kitchen knife. Don't know why the sushi and the kitchen knife, but
Well, she was hungry.
I feel like the sushi
She
is-
needed to eat something. It was there.
correct.
Not actually related. She was just hungry.
That's right. So, in her own words, this is what Sada said happened during their meet-up that night. I pulled the kitchen knife out of my bag and threatened him as had been done in the play I had seen, saying, "Kichi, you wore that kimono just to please one of your favourite customers. You bastard, I'll kill you for that." Ishida was startled and drew away a little, but he
As he
seemed
would be.
delighted
Excuse
with
me,
it
there's
all.
what wrong with my kimono? I mean,
I-
you don't like the way I'm dressed? I'm sorry. What's wrong with that? Kimono. Sorry, I think I said it the wrong way.
He was startled, drew away a little bit, but seemed delighted with it all. So, this is the...
Oh, I like a bit of role play.
strained
Oh,
old-
this is sexy.
Yeah. With a knife.
And some
With a
sushi.
knife. Oh, danger. On the edge.
Oh.
That's right. You know where it's going. So clearly he thought this was all part of some role play type stuff. They began making love, and Sada put the knife to the base of Ishida's penis and said she would make sure he would never play around with another woman.
Oh, God.
Oh, I don't know if I can do this.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I can't do this today, I don't think.
Ishida
Get a bucket. Come on.
I'm feeling a bit
Toughen
fragile.
up. Toughen up. Come on, you can do it. Just get a bucket. Sage words from the Schmidt.
I'm breathing through it.
That's it.
Remember your Lamar's
so we've got a
course.
knife. Yeah.
Yeah, at the base of the penis.
Knife at the base of the
So-
penis. Yep. Okay.
I'm not sure what I would do if that was me, but Ishida laughed at this, thinking it was a joke. Sada withdrew the knife, deciding she would wait a little to make her move. They spent 2 more nights together, having sex and pushing the limits further and further. They consensually added choking during sex. They actually choked one another and seemed to enjoy it. Sada would use her obi sash to choke Ishida during sex. And during one of these instances, she did a little too hard and ended up injuring him so badly that he had to take sedatives to soothe his pain.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
It's like star-crossed lovers, isn't it?
Well, no, everything was fine until they started getting too rough.
Till they spent time together.
We're going crazy town now. That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Down to crazy town.
Yeah.
All right.
Just went around the corner, and here it is.
As he was falling asleep, he said to her, "You'll put the cord around my neck and squeeze it again while I'm sleeping, won't you? If you start to strangle me, don't stop, because it's so painful afterwards."
Oh,
This was
why
clearly
would
a
you
joke.
say that?
Kind of
Oh.
star-crossed
funny.
lovers. They are just meant for each other. Yeah,
Right.
not funny. Bad joke.
Bad joke.
So it's kind of like next time you choke me, make sure you kill me because it hurts so bad. Sada didn't take this as a joke though. As he slept
how
that
about
night,
don't choke
Sada
me
lay
as much? Wouldn't it have been better to say
Yeah.
ease off a bit on
Ease
the
off now.
choking? Anyway,
Can we have a night off of the choking?
can we rest that for a bit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot wax,
God.
pour it on my nipples
So,
or something. But can we just not do the? Can we just not do the choking thing? If
The
we're going to
choking.
have the BDS,
We need to, put it in rotation. Can we just take it out
Yeah.
for the time being? Yeah,
that's
put something
right.
else in.
Move that one out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
right. Yeah. So as he slept that night, Sada lay awake thinking about the future. She realised that he wouldn't leave his wife, as that would mean abandoning. She realised that he wouldn't leave his wife, as that would mean abandoning his children and business. For the same reason, she doubted he'd agree to a suicide pact.
Oh,
I mean, it's escalating very quickly.
Oh my god. Yep.
But she couldn't bear to see how she couldn't. God, now I've lost myself. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1.
Back in the room.
But she couldn't see how she could bear to be parted from him. So, about 2 a.m. on the morning of May 18th, 1936, as Ishida was asleep, Sada wrapped her sash twice around his neck and strangled him to death. She later told police, "After I had killed Ishida, I felt totally at ease, as though a heavy burden had been lifted from my shoulders, and I felt a sense of clarity."
I think the viewers are just... Oh, sorry, the listeners are just happy at this point that his penis is still intact, because that was weighing heavily on my mind. That was going to go off
When
in
you
a
say the
quick
listeners, you
slice.
mean you.
Yes, maybe me. I've been worried that was going to be what... I thought after she's done, I'll just nip that off whilst...
Well, he
got
hasn't
chance.
finised yet.
Oh.
We don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
finish it, might take it
As
as a
always,
souvenir.
Carla, your timing is
No,
impeccable.
she didn't, did she? Jesus.
It's going to get a little gruesome here,
She
especially
couldn't
for
let
the
sleeping
man.
dogs lie, could she?
But-
Oh, no.
That's right. So she decided to take it a step further after murdering her lover.
Oh.
After lying with Ishida's body for a few hours, she next severed his genitalia with a kitchen knife, wrapped them in a magazine cover, and kept them with her.
Sorry, did what with the magazine cover?
She wrapped them like fish and chips.
Wrapped them in the magazine cover and kept them with her. Exactly like fish and
Battered
chips.
Sav,
Salt and
actually.
vinegar
A
and...
Saveloy, a
Battered
Saveloy.
Sav, yeah, Saveloy, Battered Sav.
Yeah,
A couple of pictures.
battered
Yeah.
seven.
When we say battered, we don't mean
Dim
as in
Sims.
like deep fried, but I mean battered as in bruised. So I'll have your battered Savs.
I'm never
Yes.
having a battered Sav
What-
again
Never again.
after this conversation.
Yeah, we might want to check.
And I'm looking at pickled onions differently
What's your
too.
working definition for your battered Saveloy, please?
Is that got flour and
I hope-
egg and
How would
stuff,
you
or
phrase
we're
it?
just talking about smacked around a lot?
Just a meat tenderizer. It's
Oh.
the easiest way to batter a Sav.
Battered
Otherwise
Sav.
known as the Hub Club. Get the Hub Club out. That'll sort it. Anyway.
That's right, yes. I do hope she doesn't go down to the beach because she'll be beating seagulls away for the rest of the
Oh.
afternoon.
Oh, mine.
So, with... Yeah, that's... Oh, no.
You can have it.
So, with his blood, she wrote Sada Kichi together on Ishida's left thigh and on a bedsheet. She then carved her name into his left arm. She left the inn at about 8 a.m. with his genitalia, telling staff not to disturb him.
He needs his rest.
Jeepers.
That's right, yes.
He's very tired after.
She went home to her boyfriend, Omiya,
Forgot about
and
him.
apologised profusely to him. Yeah, I know, right?
So did I, yeah.
He thought she was apologising for having an affair, but she was really apologising for the murder and the implications it would have on his career. So, back at the hotel, the staff soon discovered Ishida's body and the cryptic message that was left behind in blood.
Cryptic.
The story
Was it
immediately hit the press. And
I'm sorry.
What's the
Cryptic.
definition?
Oh, yeah.
She may as well have said, I done it.
Yeah, it's...
Killed by.
That's right. Yeah.
Sada was here.
Here's my address. I done it.
Yes. Find his penis and you'll find me.
Oh, God.
People were terrified, thinking she could be hiding around any dark corner. In reality, Sada didn't care a whole lot about what happened or who was looking for her. She didn't make much of an effort to hide.
Why would people be scared of her? Unless you are doing her 24/7 in an obsessive love relationship or sexual relationship, you're probably safe. I don't think she's rampant. She's just...
Well, she was quite experienced, so,
I
you know,
suppose
maybe...
when you say people,
There's
maybe
probably
it's
half a town
previous
that's probably
clients
going,
were worried she's going to pop out at any moment.
That's
Yeah,
fair
right,
enough.
exactly.
Fair enough.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So, oddly, and this has come up a few times now, so she went shopping, she caught a movie, and she checked into a hotel under a fake name. She drank beer, she got a massage, and she began writing goodbye letters to friends and family. Like
Did you
just
get the KFC?
the way people, once
They
they've
did at
killed
Christmas,
someone...
don't
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
God.
Popcorn chicken.
So she was planning to kill herself by leaping off a mountain. Stop with the popcorn
Sorry.
chicken. That's Mona's gig.
I know. Mona loved a bit of KFC.
She did. She was planning to kill herself by leaping off a mountain by the end of the week with her lover's penis in hand.
I actually thought you were going to say in her mouth.
Just
I don't
let
know
it
why.
go.
She was trying to let it go. She's going to
Well,
jump
we'll
off a
get to
mountain
that.
with it. Well, jump off a mountain.
We'll get to that.
Hey, just
commitment,
before we
isn't
get
it? Yeah.
to that, jumping off a mountain is an interesting thing to do because I've climbed mountains and it's not like they're just like
away.
some may have cliffs, but just jumping off a
They're not
mountain, like
cliffs, are
rolling
they?
fast down, you know, like jumping off a mountain seems like a strange choice. Anyway, okay. Maybe in Japan
It's
they're all cliff
not a very
faces.
definite way to end it all, is it?
No, it doesn't feel like it.
Could be.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are a couple of high rises she could have.
Bridge.
Yeah, the bridge, yeah.
So, since she was going to die, she decided that she wanted to be with her lover one last
Jesus.
time.
There we go.
Oh. I don't know where we're going with this.
Get your bucket.
So
get your bucket.
wrong.
Get
Oh, you don't?
I have a
don't?
feeling
your
I know
bucket.
where we're going.
Let me tell
need
you.
to
I,
get
Yeah.
your bucket.
I know what we've got to work with, and I don't know where we're going with this. You know what I mean? I think I've got a tool.
Brace yourself.
Okay.
You definitely have a tool.
A tool,
Yeah.
but I don't know how we're going to.
I've got a battered salve,
Give it some leverage.
a severely battered salve.
Yep.
So she unwrapped the severed penis and put it in her mouth.
There we go.
Oh.
There we go.
How do we know this? Did she tell everyone that
Next,
she did this?
Yeah, she fessed up.
Oh.
Next, she tried to stick it inside herself several times before eventually giving up. That's
I guess rigor
That
mortis is
is
not really a
just
thing when it's
messed
not
Actually, the
connected.
opposite of fucked, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because
it's unfucked, isn't
it
it?
was not working.
Be like mash.
It's just frustrating.
That would be like what, Carla?
She probably nowadays.
Oh, you'd be mashing it when you would be like, oh, what did we do with your battered salve?
Yeah, exactly right.
I'm not sure.
You couldn't even give it Viagra at that point.
Absolutely. For a hornbag like that, she must have been terribly frustrated.
There was something we talked about
That's
in the
right.
previous episode
Dud
where we
root.
talked about like salamis and sausages. Oh, it was the
Dead
food
root.
one. It was the food one when I talked about the cheese, the Swiss cheese
Oh,
perfect. We
yeah.
talked
The
about
cheese.
sausages, and we laughed about how an uncooked sausage wouldn't be very satisfactory. I feel like
Yes.
we're in the same vein again.
Would just be messy.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely the same territory.
Yes. Well, pleasingly, she didn't try to cook it to see if that would work a
Harden
bit
it up a
better.
bit.
So that's nice.
Raw meat.
Oof.
Yeah. So the reason that she did this, and she later said, was that she wanted to take the part of him that brought back to me the most vivid memories.
Not his
She just
brain.
loved his
No,
penis.
not his brain.
As Carla
I
said
can
before.
do without
it
his
was-
body,
that's
but
right.
I can't do without his penis.
Carla said before, she was just a hornbag and it was all just about the cock.
She doesn't seem to have, able to operate on any other level, really. She's just
Yeah,
mad
no,
for
correct.
it. she's just
Gagging, literally. Gagging for it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
Or
took
not
me a
so
minute,
much at the
Vinny,
latter
sorry.
bit anyway.
Took me a minute.
I thought it was the delay on the call.
No, sorry, darling. I was like, oh, gross.
Although she probably, with that, when she was sticking it in her mouth, she probably was gagging, but more from the smell than from
I
the...
can't even imagine. It's so gross.
What, like what? Exactly.
I know,
How do
it's
you
just-
get to this?
You've let yourself go, love. Oh my god, you're coming across as slightly,
Exactly,
slightly
yeah, you-
crazy. Oh, desperate.
Coming
if you don't
across.
mind me saying. Coming across
Coming
as slightly
across as
crazy.
slightly crazed.
Yeah.
Oh, understatement of 2021.
I'm not saying I was with you up until this point, but really, I mean, what did you think was going to happen?
Oh,
This soft, mushy battered salve that's now decaying. Oh my god.
Oh,
stop.
goodness.
Don't, yuck.
You're better than that, son. Come on.
You are. You can do better than this.
Yeah, this is just crazy town.
Apparently
Yeah.
not.
Back in Crazy Town.
Yeah, we certainly are.
Right next to Peasant World,
Back in
Crazy
Crazy Town, yeah. So detectives were able to track her down to the hotel she was staying in and knocked on her door. She invited them in and admitted her identity. They didn't believe her, so she showed them the severed genitals as proof.
As opposed to a passport or a driver's
I am
license.
so, and I'll prove it.
Why didn't they believe it?
Are
Like,
you calling me a
I'm
liar? I'm not a liar, I'm a murderer.
Here's the stick to prove it.
It's true, I'm the hot hornbag. Look at me. You know it's me. I'm a foxy lady. Come
Oh.
on. They're like, no, you're not.
Imagine,
Stink.
imagine
no,
like
me that smells
pulling it out of her
severed
pocket and
penis.
going, look. That's right.
Don't tell me.
Oh, by
Oh.
the way, though, syphilis, going back to the fact
Oh,
she had
yes.
syphilis,
Maybe affect her brain.
it does create mental illness. It can turn you crazy. So, we don't know that she ever received treatment for the syphilis? Because penicillin's around in...
What's his 36? Was it which year was this?
Yeah, no. Yeah, in the 30s.
This is the 30s. Like, when
Penicillin was before that.
was it?
Oh, penicillin was, I think so.
All right. Okay. Do we know if she got any treatment for the syphilis?
I would have guessed penicillin was 1800s.
No, I think it's later than that. Because
she did, because she had to go and get checkups all the time, and because she had to do that, she decided she may as well become a prostitute. That's
1928 is when Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin.
Go.
So it would have been pretty new in 1936. So I think penicillin is the predominant treatment, or as an antibiotic for syphilis. I'm not 100%
as
sure.
I put it into my Google search, thinking, wow, this is going to be another one of those ones where people look at me and go, Carla, penicillin for syphilis.
You're gonna delete your search history.
My search history is just insane because of the stuff I've searched for this. Oh my god! Another one.
They used to treat it with arsenic.
Did they?
Yes, they did. And
remember Out of Africa, the movie?
Well.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it sent them insane.
Mercury? Was mercury used as well? Mercury was used for something.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Another one of those that poisons you doesn't help you.
It's good.
Yeah. Anyway, I know it's a divergence.
Good to treat disease with poison.
Yeah, but my point was more just she had a disease that can create mental issues because it's literally a disease that's eating you from within. So whilst we're all horrified by her acts, I'm just going to point out that she was, ill. Obviously. Anyway.
Well, she was also raped and had a tough upbringing. And,
she had a very bad time, and she'd lost both of her parents and all that sort of stuff. But I think if that was still untreated, like it's one thing to have checkups, but if it was untreated in a fashion that actually dealt with it properly and cured it, then it was probably progressing through a system. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go on, Paul. Tell us what happened after she presented the penis to prove who she was. As opposed to a passport.
Let's all go back to Crazy Town.
Back to Crazy Town.
That's right, yeah. I haven't got any ID, but I do have a penis.
That'll do, won't it?
And it's not connected to my person. When she was arrested, the police asked Sada why she killed her former lover, to which she replied, "I loved him so much. I wanted him all to myself. But since we were not husband and wife, as long as he lived, he could be embraced by other women. I knew that if I killed him, no other woman could ever touch him again. So I killed him."
Yeah, true.
Fucking hell.
Makes sense, I guess.
Fair's fair.
Life's tough in Crazy Town.
Good timing.
So, when the details of the crime were made public, rumours began to circulate that Ishida's penis was of extraordinary size.
Oh. I'm sorry, I thought you said the shittest penis. I misheard that.
What was that?
I thought he said
probably Ishida.
Rumours began to circulate that the shittest penis was of unusual size. And I'm like, what? Who? Hey? Sorry, go on.
Was that before or after it had been battered?
It's after it's been battered,
like
it's grown a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Now it's huge, but flat.
The whole extraordinary size thing, though, I've got visions of her like dragging it down the street,
like the steak that would keep a draft out of an open door.
Disproportionately large. I do recall a conversation had with a mutual friend of ours, Clarky, who spent some time in Japan, and she was talking to, I think, another mutual friend about some sexual exploits she had in Japan, and she described the general, physique of an average Japanese person to be short and fat in that regard.
Yes.
That's what I've heard.
Right, yes.
It's just what I've heard.
Yes.
So this man sounds like he
It's-
was quite unusual.
Short and fat.
Well, no, the police who interrogated Sada, they denied this, saying he was just average.
Right.
And they'd seen it in her hand or whatever.
Right.
However she presented it.
Could I ask you a question, though? If your penis had... No, Clarky, if your penis had been cut off a couple of days ago, do you reckon it would look its best when someone presented it? Would you be embarrassed and go, actually, it normally looks a bit better than that. That's not at its finest. It's a shower, not a grower. It's a grower, not a shower. Give me a break. I don't want you judging me on what that looks like.
I would be
It can look better than that. That's not a good day.
Also, when we say presented, are we going back to her geisha times when she had a floral display with it as well? You know, like, I'm presenting.
That's an unusual flower. What's that one?
It's a form of orchid.
It's looking at me strangely. I tell you what I would be surprised by is that if it was presented 3 days after it was chopped off, it was of extraordinary size, because I don't think it would get any bigger. No. It would only get smaller.
Oh, God, and smellier.
Anyway. So Sada had said that size doesn't make a man in bed. Technique and his desire to please me were what I liked about Ishida. After her arrest, Ishida's penis and testicles, what do you reckon happened to them?
I'm hoping they were reunited with his body. No? Fed to the cat?
Lost? I don't know.
Chucked in the bin?
Yeah.
Taken to the beach and taken by seagulls?
Given to the seagulls?
No.
Local fish and chip shop.
No. Remember, we're in Crazy Town.
Went to a museum.
So they were moved...
To a museum, yeah. Crazy sex museum.
Sorry.
They were moved to Tokyo University Medical School's Pathology Museum. Nailed it!
Again,
Nailed it!
What is it with me and knowing crazy shit? Anyway, or preempting crazy shit.
What is it? Yeah.
I know. I'm putting it down to experience.
Yeah. I'm going to say I'll listen to a lot of podcasts and shit. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, right.
Not personal experience.
So they were put on They were put on public display soon after the end of World War II.
Oh.
But have since disappeared.
Why would because someone came along and said we do
up.
not need to see that. That should go in the bin.
I don't know, the war's over, people are looking for, some frivolity and lighter times are come. I mean, why wouldn't you want to
bit of happiness?
7 bits and pieces?
Oh, I think the war was a pretty horrific time.
Surely you put them in fluid.
Let's not think that the lighter times was someone's severed penis. And by the way, we don't know, by the time they finally got there, what state they were in. You know, back to your point about 3 days.
Exactly.
She'd had him in her mouth. She'd try to shove him up herself a bit.
I know.
She'd be carrying around in a magazine. Then they end up with someone else. Were they put on dry ice? How were they preserved? Like, we have no idea what this thing would have looked like.
She treated them like a child does with a doll or something, like dragging it through the dirt, having a go. She just... could you imagine the state? Oh, the state.
I don't know if she dragged it through the dirt. Given Clarky did say the police said it was just average. Otherwise, maybe it was massive and all the police were like, just average. Ours is a better. You know, we're good.
I was a bit intimidated by it.
I reckon it was like a pet mouse that she just kept on her persona, and she just sit there waiting for her tea to brew and patting her little pet.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so they like Evita Peron, they've just disappeared.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
All right. We hope you're enjoying the show. We are a completely independent podcast, and we want as many people to hear us as possible. We need your help. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on Facebook at Trial by Wine, where we share our updates, and contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. We can't thank you enough for your support. Now, back to the show. She's been arrested.
Yes, she has. She has indeed.
And there's no more mayhem to be done.
She's shown the penis to the police to prove who she is.
I think the correct term is presented.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
She's
with her using all her geisha skills. Yeah.
Goodness. So it's
okay.
It's just reminded me of a song from the 90s. And given that we do like a bit of music every now and then, I just thought I'd play it for you. It's a bit of a grungy song, so it's hard, but if you pay close attention to the lyrics, you'll get the link. Ready?
I woke up this morning with a bad hangover, and my penis was missing again. This happens all the time. It's detachable. This comes in a lot of the time. I can leave it home.
Happens all the time.
I woke up this morning with the worst hangover.
You've had many a hangover.
It's called detachable penis.
And my penis was missing.
Yeah, all the time.
Right.
And it goes on a whole journey of him trying to find his penis because it
detachable.
happens all the time because it's detachable. You know, he checks the medicine cabinet because sometimes he leaves it there.
All right. So, have you got anything further to tell us, or are we sentencing?
Well, yeah, no, I'll tell you a little bit about what happened from there. So, it's a good example of the Japanese justice system where it sometimes gets it a little bit wrong. But she was convicted of murder in the 2nd degree and of mutilation of a corpse. So she was put on trial and asked to be executed, but the court sentenced her to just 6 years. The sentence was eventually commuted and Sada walked free after serving 5 years in prison. She gained a ton...
Shits and giggles.
Oh no, right? What?
Oh, God.
Wow. Okay.
5 years for
Did not see
strangling
that
him,
coming.
and then maybe it was because she kept his penis in immaculate condition.
What year is this?
36?
She might have been doing the judge.
It probably was. Magic pussy makes a return to
probably
trial by
thought-
wine.
Absolutely. I think you're right.
I just as an aside, I sent my friend there who's a graphic designer who did our logo some catchphrases to use to work up for us to use on merchandise, and of course,
Yeah.
Magic Pussy is one of them.
Nice.
And my email went into junk, and I thought, I think I know why.
How very dare they?
It should have at least gone into funny
Well
junk,
filtered on that one.
like hilarious junk, not just normal junk.
So in order to reply to him, I had to remove all the rudeness out of my email so that it would actually reply to him. But anyway.
That is funny. Nice work.
Are you pulling my dick was another one. So I had to remove that as well.
Oh, goodness. So she gained a ton of notoriety because of the crazy story of her crime. So she would go on to give interviews and write a book. Eventually, she returned to work as a waitress. I feel like Human League sung a song about this, didn't they? I was working as a waitress in a cocktail
Working in a cocktail bar.
Cockless
When
bar.
I met you.
I had to
That
bring
much is true.
yeah. I had to bring my own cock to this cocktail bar because. Oh no! So for the next 20 years, she remained a model employee. She didn't get into any trouble as far as anyone could tell. It was said that while waitressing, when they recognised Sada, the men in the pub would put their hands over their crotches and shout out things like, "Hide the knives," and "I'm afraid to go and pee."
I wouldn't be joking.
so
I'd
she
be
would
terrified.
Yeah, that's right. Don't draw attention to yourself.
Don't push
She would
her.
slap
God.
the banister in anger and stare at the crowd into an uncomfortable and complete silence.
Ooh.
Then, one day...
Okay, I've got a small anecdote. I've got a little anecdote, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
So,
tell...
not to do with cock cutting up,
Ooh.
but many years ago...
I wasn't expecting it was.
Cocksui.
As you know, Dad worked in a factory, owned a factory in a part of Melbourne that has got quite a few interesting characters in it. And when a friend of his passed away, I went to the funeral and I was chatting to a man who was actually very charming, very nice man. And I didn't know much about him. There was something a little off about him, I've got to say. And so after the funeral, I said to Dad, "Who was that man I was talking to?" And he said, "You mean Mr. Machete?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "That's Mr. Machete." And I said, "And how did he come to have this interesting name?" And apparently Mr. Machete had found his wife and a lover in flagrante and had gone out to the garden shed and got a machete and came back and murdered at least one of them, if not both of them, I'm not sure.
Oh.
And then did his time as a result of that. So kind of like the people in the bar who knew what she had done and kind of made inappropriate jokes about it instead of being terrified. Clearly the people who knew who Mr. Machete was did the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. And I think I was like 22 or something. I was
Jeepers.
horrified, but I was like, all right. No, I must have been older because that happened when I was in Sydney. But anyway, just a little aside. So, yes, I have also met the odd person who's done their time,
The odd
done their
murderer.
crime. The odd murderer.
Yeah.
Cheers, Dad. God rest your soul.
Yeah. Some people who've got handy with knives.
God.
I just
there
laughed
is-
that they always called him Mr. Machete.
There is that phrase, don't mention the war,
Anyway.
for a reason, I think. Like, just let it go.
Oh, look, this was a long time ago. I doubt Mr. Machete's still around. I've got to say.
You should look into that.
Quite a long time
You
ago.
should look into that for trial by wine.
This was 20 years ago.
Might be
When
a
I think
local
about it, it's
case.
20 years ago, and he was pretty elderly then, so I doubt that
Yeah.
he's still with us.
Even better,
Shame.
really, because then you can.
He was a very nice
investigate.
man when I met him.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, he just had a bad moment.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So that more or less...
other colourful people that I met up there.
Jesus. That more or less brings us to the end of the story, other than to say that one day in 1970, she disappeared right off the map. Occasional rumours of her committing suicide or entering a convent sprang up, but nothing was ever confirmed, and there is no known death date. Needless to
Then
say...
so she would have been 65. She was born in
Yeah, yeah.
1905? You said
05,
at the
yeah,
beginning?
so 65, yeah.
Right.
So needless to say, Sada Abe will never be forgotten in Japanese history.
No.
And that, my friends, is the
Good
story
reason.
of Sada Abe.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's that time. Time to pick your crime and sentence away.
Put your wigs on.
Yes, put your wigs
Put
on.
your wigs on. Whoa. Carla, thoughts?
A bit sort of
Here she goes.
baffled as
I don't
always,
know.
but like I'm more concerned about what her real sentence was, frankly. Can we just talk about that very briefly?
Yes,
Do
we
you think
can.
it's because
Yes.
she was such a national sensation that people kind of, I don't know, did people think that she was a hornbag and that was okay because she'd been a geisha or something like that? So they didn't, that's not a very long sentence for doing what she was, like really
It's
macabre.
not. Yeah,
Did
yeah, agreed.
in your vast reading, Clarky, did you come across anything that suggested that there was any outcry at the time as to why that was so
Yeah,
small?
no, it doesn't sound like there was at all. So Nikki Young, who wrote the story, did mention that
Yeah.
it's an example of how confusing the Japanese legal system can be.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming she's got some experience in the Japanese legal system because she says it just sometimes confuses her.
Because I was doing a bit of research on a story of my own, which is Japanese, and there seems to be this thing there where a lot of things are kept very private, and you know what happens is, you know, it's like nearly everything's sort of swept under the carpet. But in this situation, it was such a public, you know,
Yes.
national story. You know, what a scandal this happened. It's interesting because I would have thought they would have been given the opportunity to make an example of it, but it seems like the total opposite. Crazy.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
Crazy Town is cool. Crazy and cool. Oh, look, I don't know.
Crazy
What are you going to say,
and
Schmitty?
cool.
You right? What? I'm sighing.
I don't know what to say.
Neither do I. I'm still sort of so shocked by just how she was so unapologetic, and the fact that she went to have like a pretty normal life and wrote a book. And where's the? It's like, yeah, oh well, you know, poor guy. Did it say what about her partner or any of those people? Did they ever speak again about? Oh, one of them did, didn't he? The first boyfriend or whatever else.
Yeah, so that was early on that he
Yeah.
mentioned that he spoke of her. But yeah, there's nothing sort of post-story that would suggest anything different. I think she just got away with it almost, didn't she?
Maybe they just thought it was a bit of sexy time gone a bit wrong. It's sort of like they're like, oh well, you know, shits and giggles.
I mean,
Stuff happens.
I mean, to be
You know, gets
to be
it out of
fair,
hand
he did
sometimes.
say to her, "You're going to strangle me." He shouldn't have made that joke, should he?
Yeah.
Pretty much his fault.
Yeah, now that you say it, his
Don't
fault.
want to victim blame. Let's not victim blame, but it was a bad joke to make to her.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Correct.
nothing
Yeah.
funny about it.
Not like he said-
And-
Jeepers.
Well, I don't know. I'm not Japanese. You know,
That's the thing, isn't it? It's got to be a
do you
cultural
know what I mean?
thing.
Like,
are you
sometimes-
not?
No, but there are sometimes you hear a joke that's translated into English from another culture or
Yes.
another language, and it's not funny at
Yeah.
all.
Mm.
And you think,
Woman
how
chops
is that
off a
meant to be
penis.
funny? Yeah. Like I've heard translated German jokes or Hungarian jokes, and you think, that's not funny. That's awful. And yet everyone's pissing themselves laughing, and you think, I don't get it. It's lost in translation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe there was something lost in translation of that joke.
Well, I'm assuming only 2 people
all?
heard the joke, and one of them clearly didn't think it was a joke and actually thought it was something that she should do. So I'm going to go with it wasn't that it wasn't a joke because of the culture. I think it just wasn't funny, and in fact it almost sounded like an invitation.
But do you think... I don't even think it matters in some respects, because at the beginning of this part of the story, remember, she had said to him with the knife at the beginning, like, she'd watched the play, it was premeditated in the sense that she was going to go and do something to him. So the fact that he then said, you may as well, if you're going to do it, strangle me with the cord, that was just an aside, really. She was like, I hadn't thought of that. I was just going to slice you up and cut your penis off. It's literally like he went, if we're in that sort of space, give this a shot.
Yeah.
She would have
It'll be
just sliced him up anyway, wasn't she?
Yeah, it'd be easier to cut your penis off once you're strangled. So thanks for the tip. It's made me refine my plan.
Handy tip. Yeah, it's very strange.
In fact, more than the tip. She took more than the tip.
And wouldn't, if you started... Oh, God.
I've gone down a really bad rabbit hole over here. Sorry, I know I've been very quiet, but... Alright, so I'll explain where I'm headed with this. I don't know, when many years ago, probably in England, I was watching probably a Channel 4 program.
Chances are.
Channel 4... Chances are. Because it dials up so many good things. I remember seeing something about a porn... Anyway, there was this film, and this is based on my memory. So what I was trying to do while you were talking was Google the correct name of this film, because I don't know it. But anyway, it was about a woman who had either had tons and tons of sex or something. Anyway, she kills herself for whatever reason. And then in this scene, she's in sort of effectively she's in hell. And she's in another, her punishment or her hell is she's in a cell with another a man, and her punishment in hell is that the man will not have sex with her because she's like gagging for sex all the time. And so they just have to masturbate themselves.
Sounds more like heaven.
Because they can't actually... Well, no, because she likes the D and she's never going to get the D because this man is only interested in wanking himself off, and so she's very frustrated. So that was her, moral. That's a strange.
Forgive me. Where did you see this film?
I didn't see the film. I saw someone talking about the film.
Okay.
So it was maybe it was one of those top 100 pornos. Those list programs. I
Certainly
don't know.
in the UK they do those non-stop, don't they?
Anyway, whilst I was trying to find the actual name of that film,
Your search history will be good.
That's why I'm on my phone, not on my computer. I came across an article which is about 13 people who died from masturbating. And, one's fairly normal, ordinary, which is an 87-year-old man found naked and hanging by his belt. Man perforates his bowel after getting vibrating dildos stuck in his anus. Man electrocutes his penis. Man chokes to death on zucchini during afternoon bout of autoeroticism. Man dies.
Chokes to death on a zucchini.
Not, by the way.
What?
That's what it says. I didn't read into it. Oh, okay.
Is it
this case involves
because he shoved it so far up that he choked on it, or because he was like
other way?
No,
deep throat.
He shoved it down his throat whilst masturbating.
Oh.
And then choked himself to death. It's an autoerotic, instead of...
I don't know. That's
instead
what I'm
of having
asking.
a sash around your neck...
Yeah, you
instead
just
of having
shove
a sash around your neck or a belt...
Down the throat.
Yeah, and probably with the idea that you could pull it out again, and maybe a bit of it broke off. I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah.
Unfortunately...
and it's really hard to give yourself a Heimlich manoeuvre.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Ooh.
I don't know what I'm reading there, and I don't want to read it. Internal examination showed a zucchini impacted in the larynx and oropharynx, totally occluding the airway. So, yeah, he shoved it too far down, basically. Anyway, man dies of heart attack after attempting to get a blowjob from a vacuum cleaner.
Oh.
Canadian man dies from incredibly complicated underwater self-pleasuring contraption.
What do you mean you shouldn't laugh?
Did he
Can
drown?
you just read that again?
I told you I went down a really
Death by
bizarre
misadventure.
Canadian man, it was, I'm sure. Canadian man dies from incredibly complicated underwater self-pleasuring contraption. In 1984, a researcher coined the term aqua eroticum to describe a case where a man drowned in a river during an intense underwater jack-off session. A much later case involves a 25-year-old Canadian who perished as a result of an unusual autoerotic fatality in a lake involving a homemade diving apparatus.
What?
What? Exactly.
On his head, the victim had a hockey... on his head, sorry everyone, I know we're going on a different direction, but
Tell me more.
I was thinking about this idea of punishment around eroticism, okay?
Yeah.
So that's where that's how we got here. Anyway, on his head, the victim had a hockey helmet equipped with a safety grid. The garments were composed of a two-piece black snowmobile suit and beige ski boots. On top of the black suit, a complex bondage system joining together the waist, knees and ankles of the victim was observed, with meshed metallic chains and straps and accessories usually used for horseback riding. As it said, really complicated. A section of electrical
I just think he
wire
overthought it a bit by the sounds of things.
I think you're right. A section of electrical wire was also used at the knees. The whole bondage device was secured at the pubic region by a padlock, consequently maintaining the victim's legs tightly joined together. Furthermore, a meshed metallic chain was attached to the hockey helmet and straps were also present at each wrist. Under his winter garments, the victim was wrapped in a transparent plastic jumpsuit, covering him from head to toe. The man was initially completely underwater, his feet connected to a wooden board by skin bindings. The wooden board was linked to a floating pneumatic boat by an electrical cord. The victim had linked a long black tube from his mouth to an open plastic container floating on the lake, thus creating a device for air supply. The open plastic container allowed air to enter the black tube and get to the victim. Apparently, the black tube didn't adequately allow for sufficient airflow, and this gallant and dedicated masturbatory warrior slowly suffocated to death.
Masturbatory warrior?
The article. There's a quote from the article I'm reading on thoughtcatalog.com. On thoughtcatalog.com if anyone wants to read this also.
I feel like not too many wars were won by masturbatory warriors. I've just got visions.
Oh my god!
Visions of an army with a sword, like swords coming over the hill, and the masturbatory warriors on the other side.
Get back!
Oh, we lost again.
That would keep me away. I've got to say, if someone came up to me, trousers down, wanking at me, I'd back away. I would very happily back away. You win. Off you go. Anyway,
calm down, you masturbatory warrior.
I was looking for... I know. A man heartlessly killed by the tractor he fell in love with. What a bitch.
That was the most complicated paragraph I think you've ever read.
The tractor he fell in love with. Was the tractor a bitch?
I called the tractor a bitch. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go back to it quickly.
That must be the most complicated paragraph you've ever read. That description of what
should
that
do
other
it.
one
Oh my
was.
God.
I know. I could hardly picture it.
That is... he's a jockey on the inside having a sweat down and he's like little plastic.
I don't know what was going on.
And the beige
No,
boots.
you can
Why did we have to
imagine
know the boots were beige? Like the beige. My brain was literally going, what? Okay, right. I think I've got that. No, I don't understand that. That was insane.
All right, the tractor one is a 42-year-old Asian man was found hanging by the neck, suspended by a rope attached to the raised shovel of a John Deere model JD410 diesel-powered backhoe trailer. Backhoe trailer.
Blackhoe trailer.
You might need to edit that.
Backhoe tractor.
That tractor was such a hoe.
I know, sorry about that.
Rose for hose.
It's a backhoe tractor. It is actually a backhoe.
Oh yeah, we know.
Yes.
Okay.
Not a black hoe.
The decedent was suspended in a semi-sitting position by a cloth safety harness wrapped around his neck and clipped to a rope that was hooked to the raised shovel of the backhoe tractor. A towel was between the loose-fitting strap and the victim's neck. A long piece of plastic pipe was connected on one end by conduit tape to the hydraulic control lever of the shovel in the operator's compartment of the tractor. A broomstick was taped to the other end of the pipe and was partially under the decedent's buttocks. The victim kept a journal of love poetry dedicated to his tractor that he named Stone, outlining his desire for them to soar high together. The victim was unmarried and lived with his parents on their farm. Go figure. He also had a reasonable expectation of privacy for an extended period as he engaged in this behaviour in the late evening down by the barn. Cause of death was determined to be accidental autoerotic asphyxiation with carbon monoxide intoxication as a contributor. That's
And
very
butt
sad.
splinters.
Anyway, moving on.
But what a masturbatory warrior he was as well. Another one. Another hero for our times.
It's-
Oh my god.
It's like masturbatory warriors meets Transformers.
Warrior.
Like,
This is the one that got my attention on this whole article, and now I've got to it. It's gross.
Oh my god! You've really got me going now, and I can just Transformers more than meets the eye.
More than meets the eye.
It's like jerking you off. Oh my god!
I can't wait for that movie to come out.
Masturbator in disguise. Oh my god!
All right. So
My
this is the
jaw
one that
hurts.
got my interest, and this is why. I
As opposed to
started
that
thinking
one,
this-
this is the one that got your
No,
interest.
that wasn't there. In the original kind of search thing, when it comes up, the line that I was looking at was "Woman dies of possible stroke while masturbating with a frozen sausage." This is the one that caught my interest because of
A frozen
the content
sausage.
of our story.
Oh,
Yeah.
frostbite.
Make
A
you
woman
numb.
in her early 20s was... It's not good. A woman in her early 20s was discovered in a severely decomposed condition. She was found on a bed in her locked apartment where she had resided alone. She was nude and lay face down with a pillow under her abdomen and her buttocks in the air. Her right hand was beneath her, near her vagina. Her face was turned to one side and a knife was beneath her cheek.
What?
On the
What?
don't know why. On the bed immediately below her vagina lay a long sausage, which in all probability fell from her vagina after death. On the kitchen counter, a pack of similar sausages, once frozen, had since thawed.
A pack of similar sausages.
What a warrior. What a warrior. She was there for
Masturbatory
a
warrior
long-
with similar
Masturbatory warrior.
sausages.
Isn't it? Anyway, there's more, but I won't go on because that's not where I was going. Anyway, so on back to sentencing. So I was having this thought about that thing I'd heard about this film where the person had been put into a situation where they couldn't get any sexual satisfaction, and that was kind of their punishment. And I'm not quite sure how this pans out because now I've just gone. All I can hear in my head is Transformers,
get-
robots in disguise.
Transformers, masturbating.
I cannot get past that now.
The Transformers
So, in
save
Crazy
Earth
Town-
by masturbating.
In Crazy Town,
I think we're in
Yeah.
Crazy
So
Town now.
in Crazy Town, which is an offshoot of Trouble
Well,
One World, there is a Japanese lady who just can't get she can't get no satisfaction, and that is my sentence for her because too much satisfaction led us to this very sad
Right.
story,
Yes.
even though we laughed a lot about it.
Yes, I agree.
Yep, I think.
So I'm just going to cut her off, not her partner, at the pass. Right. Paulie, Clarky, what you
Oh,
got
look,
for us?
Mine's just super simple, and it's going to be really, really short. I just think she should be made to eat a bag of dicks.
Oh, yuck.
And they could be 3-day-old ones.
I laughed. Oh.
She can have all.
Whose dicks? Men's, like human dicks?
Oh, Schmitty.
Yeah.
Animal
totally.
dicks?
Oh,
Yeah, no, totally human dicks.
a
And-
mixed bag. Mixed
Human
bag.
dicks.
A mixed bag. Mixed bag of dicks.
I mean, she tried. Yeah, it could be a mixed bag 20 cents of mixed dicks, please.
Yeah.
She can go to the milk bar at 12 by Wine and get probably more like $20 worth of mixed dicks.
You get Coca-Cola flavoured ones.
Excuse me, may I have a... Yeah. And the teeth.
They're a bit like those thawed sausages that other woman was
May I
enjoying.
have
Got any
a dollar's
vinegar?
worth of mixed dicks, please?
Oh. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know, Carla, did you actually send
No,
her
but I
or
would have...
just-
I mean, I would say...
No,
Of course
no.
not. I would sentence her to lifetime for murder. So I'd like to see her in jail. But again, I think it's very... But I think it's very important that she is sexually unsatisfied and unable to scratch that itch. And I think that and I don't know if that's by keeping her away from other people, making sure that she has no access to, I suppose her own hands or anything. I don't know. She just needs to be, calm it down a
Sentence her
bit.
to death by...
The horn bag. Take the horn out of the horn bag.
warrior.
Well, I was going to say, maybe if we go back to the masturbatory warrior and we think about the opposite, instead of this massively complicated contraption to masturbate underwater and drown yourself by accident, how about like oven mitts so you can't wank?
Yep.
Foam on every surface so you can't push, no access to a washing machine.
Why don't we just get rid of her libido?
Nothing that you can push yourself up against.
Let's
What was
just
that?
take away her libido, so she's just like a... or maybe not, actually, because we do want her to suffer. If she didn't have a libido, then she wouldn't be suffering, would she? She would be indifferent.
Maybe just a big brass chastity belt.
Yes.
Yeah, chastity
Yes.
belt would work. Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I reckon a big chastity belt. Yeah.
And then
Okay.
being in the presence of 10 masturbatory warriors. So she just won't be able to masturbate.
It's almost exactly like. See, that's exactly the porn, the moral porn that I was talking about
Yes.
earlier. That's kind of the storyline they.
I love that. It's a type you like to watch. I only watch moral porn.
I don't.
It has to have it has a message. Porn with a
By the
message.
way, before, I'm not about to say I don't watch porn, but I don't watch moral
We watch porn with a message.
No.
They could show it in
I don't watch a lot of
schools.
porn, but when I watch porn, it really only has one message, and no, you can't show
What's
it
the
in
lesson
schools.
here?
All right, okay, well, on that note, I think this case is done and was excellent. Thanks, Paul.
Very enjoyable.
Clarky.
Quite a riot.
What a
yes,
riot.
that was a riot. I do feel sorry for the victim, but I'm glad that he had already died before he had his dick cut off, because that would have been pretty awful. Just got to say. I mean, I don't even have a dick, but I believe it would be bad. I wouldn't like my finger cut off before I'm dead, so you know. Anywho, Carla, got anything else to say?
No, I think I'm done, darling. I think I'm done. I've enjoyed
Right.
that very much, so. What a giggle.
No, that was really good. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Pleasure.
And miss you already. It was awesome, and we will regroup very shortly. And until then,
Farewell, my
Ciao,
masturbatory
ciao.
warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Warriors. Warriors it is.
Over and out.
Transformers, robots in disguise.
Eat a bag of
God.
dicks.
All right. Cut it out.
See you guys.
All right, bye.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.